Hey, this is Michelle, and you're listening to Words with Michelle, the podcast, a show where I sit down and have conversations with influencers on a range of topics, anything from natural hair, employment, discrimination, food, relationships, and everything in between. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. If you want to send me an email, hit me up at michelle@wordsmichelle.com. Thanks for tuning into episode 41 of Words with Michelle, the podcast. Today's topic is a fun one. It's on cuffing season. The show came about after I had a casual convo about cuffing season with one of my cousins. He didn't really know what the term meant, so I had to explain it to him. Then I thought, perhaps there are other people out there that don't know what it is either. So I enlisted the expertise of relationship consultant Nicole Melissa, and she defined the term of this type of relationship. She talked about the good, the bad, and the ugly, y'all. I previously had Nicole on the podcast as an expert for the show that I did on dating in the age of COVID, so I knew she was down to explore the topic. Welcome back to the show, Nicole. Before we get deep into the show, I asked Nicole to give us a quick bio and let us get to know her a bit better.
Yeah, so I'm a relationship consultant and matchmaker. And I'm also a program coordinator and curator. I create programs for singles and couples. I teach my 3 tenets, which are emotional intelligence, conflict resolution, and intimacy. I believe those 3 are super important to have a successful relationship. So I want to teach everyone, give everyone the tools how to have really good relationships, essentially.
Perfect.
And and if I'm going to be 100% transparent as well, because I'm into that these days, is I also had to come about that the hard way, right? Because I was married and now I'm divorced, right? And I had to go through the whole process of healing and learning to love myself and all of that stuff. So I come from a really place of like no judgment. I get it. I've been there, done that. And I realized sometimes at the end of the day, you do need someone to heal. Like we don't heal on our own, right? So I want to be able to offer people that, someone that's actually been on the journey, that's been where you've been, right? So, but yeah, so that's what I do. I'm a matchmaker and relationship consultant, and I help people find love and stay in love.
Actually, thanks for sharing that because I did not know that, Nicole. So I will say thanks for sharing that.
No problem.
I mean, it takes a lot, to share with people, like, your personal stuff. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
So thanks for sharing that. And it's true, we do have to go through these unfortunate bad things in order to come out of the other side, right?
100%.
So the topic of the day is cuffing season. So this, I see we are approaching cuffing season. So, first off, what is cuffing season?
Okay, so cuffing season is like, oddly enough, there is like a whole site, they did a project, research, scientific thing on it, where, so humans don't technically have a mating season, but if we were to have a mating season, it would be called cuffing season. Cuffing is a metaphor for essentially what it is: hooking up, being together, locking down. And we typically do this in the winter months. So come October to say maybe February, around Valentine's, a little after Valentine's Day, maybe even March, people naturally, like they did a study on it. Like I didn't even know that was like a thing like that. I thought it was just like this urban thing that people said, but no, like scientists did, doctors did like some real research on it. And it turns out that, yeah, there's a thing where we want to bond in colder months. We want to snuggle up. So people do that. So I think that people do that like knowing that they're going into cuffing season. But I think the average person doesn't realize that they're doing that. It's your chemical makeup is urging you to snuggle up.
I did not realize that there was scientific evidence though. That I will say that's new to me. Like,
yeah, there was like a doctor that I read, Dr. Justin Lemire or something like that. He had done some research on it, and he said that, yeah, during the colder months, that's what we do. And like for our testosterone, does it go up? I think he said that it goes up or something like that. No, that the testosterone levels fall.
Oh, okay.
And the serotonin levels go up.
Okay.
So it makes you want to like cuddle up.
It's funny because the only time I heard about it a couple years ago on, I think it was on Issa Rae's show, but I
Like
think
her new show or Insecure?
oh, it was Insecure. It's
Yeah.
either Insecure or another show prior to that.
Yeah.
And maybe her web series. That's when I first heard about cuffing season. I'm like, cuffing season. But the weird thing is because I'm West Indian, so when you say the word cuff, I don't really like, you know what I mean? Like, you know how if you're West Indian, when you say cuff, it means the hit, right?
Yeah, it's like we can use cuff differently. Yeah. When we say we're gonna
Apparently,
cuff you, we mean we're gonna cuff you.
so when I first heard it, I'm thinking, what are we saying here? What are we saying? And then I
Yeah, like
realized,
cuffing season. Yeah.
so then I realized that cuffing season is a thing. It's an
Yeah.
actual term, and as
Yeah.
you say, it's a study. So
Yeah.
we want to snuggle
There's
up.
a study. Yeah. There's been, yeah. I only read about one, but evidently there's many studies. That's a thing. Cuffing season. It's like, yeah, a metaphor for exactly what it is. Like we're gonna hook up, we're gonna like I'm gonna be cuffed to you. You're gonna be mine, I'm gonna be yours until
Ah, okay, cool. So
until
do you think it's a legit way to start a relationship, though, or can we even put that term on it or that title, relationship?
I feel like, is it a legit way to start a relationship? I think it can be. Everything's possible. It's just a matter of, is it beneficial? I think at the end of the
Okay.
day, as long as there's communication, it could. You could make it into a relationship. I'm sure people have made cuffing season into a relationship. I don't know how long it would last if there's no real communication about what it is. That's really what the key is here, is that letting that person know that this is a temporary thing. But going back to what I was saying before, I think most people go into cuffing season not realizing that this is going to be
Oh, okay,
temporary,
okay.
right? So they think like, oh, and I think mainly women, right, kind of go into this thinking that it's going to be like, oh, this is going to be my man.
So
Where
wait,
in his mind,
actually, I want to kind of jump on that. Like you said that you think some people go into it unknowing, but don't you? Do you think that people go into cuffing season knowing it, thinking that you know what, I'm not trying to be alone. It's October, it's getting cold. So do you think people actually have
yeah,
in their mind thinking, I
yeah,
gotta get booed up. I need to find that person to spend
yeah.
a couple of months with, and
Yeah,
then
there's people out there that actually, yeah, they know. It starts, there's like a whole thing to it. So it starts in like the summer months, like when you're outside dating because it's warm, you're out there doing things, getting to know people. You're gonna pick somebody that you feel like, okay, like this person, I'm cool to like hang out with this person, see them exclusively even. And so
Mhm.
that by the time October comes, you got your partner. Like
Ah, so
you got
you're
your partner. So
ah, okay.
you started doing all your work.
The
You started
research.
doing your homework in the summer so that by exam time, you could pass.
Oh my God, that's funny.
You know
But
what I'm
oh
saying?
my,
So like, yeah, it's a process. So there are people that are well aware of what they're doing. I just don't know that a vast majority are. So there's the people that know that they are going into this temporarily, that come summertime, I'm outside.
mhm.
The wintertime, I'm good to be inside. And then there's people that, they're not really meaning to play that game. They're just kind of looped into it.
So, do you think it's kind of similar to the friends with benefits? You know how you used to say friends with benefits back in the day? Do you think the cuffing season is pretty much the same thing,
I think it's definitely kin,
or an extension of?
a
Maybe.
100%. Which I always, you know, the friends with benefits thing, I always never quite understood like why people do that. And it's the relationship consultant in me that wants for people to be in love and wants people to like, create families and live happily ever after. That part of me just doesn't listen. If you have a friend, why don't you date? Like, why don't you just date and get to know each other like that and see if it's like something that you could do? Right? Like, I never understood, like, because essentially, friends with benefits just missing the dating aspect of it. Right? So
Yes.
it's like, just add the dating aspect of it. No,
Yeah, I'm
see
with you on that.
something happen.
I think the friends with benefits thing, I think it's someone's always going to get hurt. I think someone's going to get involved. Unless both are on the same page. And to
Mhm.
me, I've seen it, I've seen it. And I don't think it's ever worked out. It has never worked out for anybody. It
Oh.
just kind of just leaves someone um, empty. Do you know what I
With a
mean?
bitter taste in their mouth too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. Exactly. It's different now if you are dating and it doesn't work out, right? But when you're
yeah.
friends with benefit and it doesn't work
Yeah.
out, it's like there's a lingering bad taste. Versus if you were dating and it didn't work out, it's kind of like, okay, sometimes it doesn't work out. But
Yeah.
when it's your friend and it's just called friend, and then your friend lets you down, your friend disappoints you, it has a different feeling, a different vibe attached to it. And
That's
at least makes you a little bitter. So it's like at this, I don't know, I just feel like at this big age, folks, just date and see how that goes. You know,
yeah.
if it goes, then it goes. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. But like friends with benefits, nah.
But then you lose a friend out of it. And that, your friends are like golden. You know what I mean? My friends are like,
Yeah,
so you won't want to
exactly.
lose a friend out of that.
No, I just low key think it's corny, but that's just
Because you're a relationship therapist. But a lot of
exactly. I'm
people,
gonna be like, I'm gung ho for the relationship. I got me a love ministry. Like I'm gonna teach the gospel of love all the live long day.
but
I
then
want people to be in love with themselves first and then others.
But then also, I think it's also where you are in life. And
Yeah.
I think it could be an age thing. Because I mean,
Yeah.
I'm thinking if you're post 30 or 40, you really don't want to do the friends with like who wants to do that in your 40s? You know what I mean? Like that doesn't really that seems like that seems messy if
A
anything. Like
100%. 100%.
if
And
you're
you're too old for that. Okay. Now it's time for you to pull on your big boy pants and your big girl panties
I
and
love
you
that.
know start acting like a grown up now. You
Yeah. Actually, you
be
know
40
what?
years old.
Yeah, no, I agree with you because
You
it's
know?
like when you're in your 20s, you're kind of young and free and
Yeah.
you're just having fun and you're trying to find yourself. But
Yeah.
when you're getting up there, that's not
You don't
something
want to,
you
yeah.
want. Not at
Yeah.
that age,
Yeah. Why would you want to do that? Right? Like,
Yeah.
and like ruin a perfectly good friendship where instead of, because all relationships need to start off as friendships for them to be good and satisfying and fulfilling. That needs to feel like your friend. So if you have a friend that you like that, and it's the feeling is mutual, why wouldn't you explore that?
And exactly what you said, the feeling must be mutual, right? Like
Yeah,
it
if
must
the
be
feeling's not
mutual.
mutual, then it's not gonna work, right? It'll feel forced on one end, and that's probably not. I think that no, because that doesn't still wouldn't make any sense. I was gonna say that men and women that are in friends with benefits situations, they are attracted to each other. They are attracted to each other. They're not sleeping with someone that they're completely
Mm,
unattracted to,
that's true.
right?
True.
I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like give especially men more credit than that. Men typically want to be attracted to the woman they're sleeping with, and women too. So you're going to be attracted to that person. You like that person. You call that person friend. Like I don't know, I could just keep going over the same thing because it's just I don't get it. Why aren't you dating?
I
Date
think
legitimately.
I think what it could be,
Mm-hmm.
um, could be the pressure. You know what I mean? I think it could be like the fact that it's less stress. If you just say, okay, it's a casual thing, whatever. I
More
mean,
stress.
there was a movie about there's several movies about friends with
Yeah.
benefits, but I think one of the reasons someone would do it because it's available, right? You
Yeah.
already, I know it sounds like okay, we're just animals, but I think that's possibly what the reason is behind it. Like if they're both single and people get bored and that's what it seems like, right? Same thing with cuffing
Yeah.
season. It could be that's why I think it's an extension of I
Yeah.
think what it is that you have this friend that is somewhat attractive and that you're like okay, they're not seeing someone, I'm not seeing someone, let's just casually hook up. And to me, I don't think that will ever work because like I don't think there's no balance in that, in the sense that someone's gonna get hurt, someone's gonna catch some feelings, and then and they question, right? Like, maybe they want to hook up at a certain day or whatever, and they say no, and then they're like, why? And then you know what I mean? So I feel like it's just messy. It just sounds
I
very, very messy.
exactly. And I think that it actually ends up being more stress because you have all
Mm,
these underlining
that's
feelings.
true.
Somebody's going to catch feelings that are deeper than the other person, right? And that's when it starts to get messy because it's like, well, we're friends. I thought we were just friends. So, like, you're not allowed to, like, start to feel that way. So you can't be, like, upset that I'm going out with this girl or I'm going out with that guy. But they do. Somebody's going to start to catch feelings. It gets messy.
Yeah,
Just
actually,
date.
you're right. It is more stressful. Actually, that's such a good
Yes,
point because
it is. It's less stressful to just date. And if it doesn't work, then it didn't work. I'm sure you've been on dates, you've dated other people that it didn't work out with. And you move on, right? Because hey,
yeah,
you guys gave it a valiant effort and it didn't work. Okay. Maybe you can continue your friendship. Maybe you can, or maybe you can't. But at the end of the day, you tried and it didn't work out. Just like if you were dating somebody else and it didn't work out, you
Yeah.
wouldn't. You know what I mean? It's. I think it's less stressful to put a title on it in that regard. I know everyone wants to run away from titles these days. Like,
Yeah.
don't label me. Like, no, labels are important in some things, and especially when it comes to relationships, you cannot leave like open doors. You cannot leave situations where it's unclear about what this is. Somebody will get hurt that way, right? So it's really important that you do call it what it is, or whatever that is for you. You know what I mean? And in this case that we're talking about right now is friends with benefits. So maybe it's going to be called just friends with benefits.
Okay.
We're dating. We're just dating. Maybe it's called. We're exclusively dating. That you're my man, I'm your girl. You know, like, but something has to be said. You can't just like, oh, I don't want to put any titles on it right now. Let's just see how it goes. It won't go good because you're going to feel like you can't speak up. You're going to feel uncomfortable to share your thoughts about like how you're feeling because this person already shared with you that this is not that. I told you that we're not doing that, but you're feeling away. I have conversations with people about this all the time, and that's why it's like, don't do that to yourself.
Exactly.
Don't do that to yourself. Don't do if you know what I always say. Treat it like it's your friend. Treat you like you're your friend. If your friend was doing that, what would you say? You'd be like, don't do that to my friend. Don't do my friend like that. You are
Yeah.
your own friend. Don't do yourself like that. Don't put yourself in a position where you're not going to be comfortable with it in the end.
Yeah.
And or if you do put yourself in that situation because you think you can handle it, and then you learn that you can't, honor that. Honor that this doesn't work for me. I've caught feelings here and I gotta go.
Okay, so kind of getting back to cuffing season because
Yeah.
I think I kind of sidetracked you. Sorry.
That's okay.
I think friends with benefits and cuffing season are kind of closely related, anyways.
Yeah.
But with cuffing season, can a real relationship form from cuffing season?
Yes. I think it's possible. I think it's possible that a real relationship can form from cuffing season. Again, it just boils down to communication, right? It has to be very clear cut communication, honest, truthful communication about what this is, where we're starting and where we're going. It needs to be intentional, you know? So if you're going to start off with like, I've been dating you since May, and like now it's because sometimes with the cuffing season, it could be a literal physical move in, right? Where somebody comes to move in with you.
Oh, true,
Months,
true,
right?
true. That's
Or it could be,
true.
yeah. Or it could just be like, you're in your own spaces, but you guys are linked up. I see you every night or I'm with you every weekend, type situation.
Yeah.
If there is good constructive communication, all things are possible. I would never say that you cannot build a relationship off of cuffing season. You absolutely could. You could. You have to, it goes back to like kind of what I was saying there before. You have to know thyself. If that's something that you can manage, then do that. See if you can build off that. It can work because all things are possible, but not necessarily all things are beneficial. So you kind of have to figure that out for yourself.
Cuffing season is not technically a relation. It is a relationship, but I'm trying to see how I can
Well, I
end.
mean, it's a situationship, right?
Ah,
It's a
okay. I like
situation.
the way you said that. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, like you
Maybe
put
continue.
yourself in a situationship. It's you hopefully, for those that know what it is, they're communicating that, and then the other people that think that this is going to be something else, they learn that it's a situationship later on. Unfortunately.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to put my 2 cents in this. I don't normally talk about um the topic. I don't give my 2 cents. Am I pro cuffing season or against a cuffing season? Um, I will just say that it doesn't sound like anything for me. Um, I
Yeah.
I mean, like you kind of want to because it sounds like out of convenience. I will say it sounds like out of convenience.
Oh,
I mean,
100%.
I mean, like scientific studies does say, mating season. So physically, we're drawn to mating season, right? Um, however, if I'm just going in there just because I'm thinking this is going to be just like a 3 month thing, whatever, that's not for me. I think it's just the way that I am, and I'm kind of like I'm a hopeless romantic type of person. Like you want it all. I don't want to just be like I'm kind of it's October. It's October
Yeah.
15th and it's cold
Getting
out.
chilly.
Yeah, I don't want that. I want you want the whole thing. And then I know relationships aren't perfect, but at
Mhm.
least want to start it off with that mindset that you know what, we'll see where this goes. So coming season doesn't necessarily work for me, but I'm not going to knock someone if they do it. They just need to. I mean, unless they're both on the same page, the both partners or both people are on the same page, then I say, do what you got to do. You
You'd
do
be
you.
surprised how many people are on the same page. There's a lot of people that are on the same page, that they are going into this knowing that this is temporary. That I've talked to so many people where they know that this is not the person for them. They don't see that person in their
Wow,
life
are you
long term.
serious?
Yeah, they don't see that person in their life long term. But I'm gonna do this for now.
Okay, may I ask, are they younger people or people
Yeah,
of age?
I find definitely Gen Z,
Okay, yeah, that's
millennials,
yeah, yeah,
for sure, for
yeah.
sure.
I
They
think
have a
so.
different take on it, and I feel like those are the type, and those are the women women in particular that I really want to get to. Um, just want to give them another perspective that there's another way to to have relationships and have them feel good to you, because I feel like what happens is they think that, especially like this social, like the way social media raises everybody, right? And they share with you what's cool and what's happening, what's not, right?
Yeah,
And you also see a lot of people's relationships, and you always hear about so and so was like cheating on so and so with so and so, and this person's a sister wife, and this, and so you think that that's what it is. But I just want for these young girls, especially young sisters, to know that there is another perspective. Like, you don't have to be a sister wife. Like, it's this mindset
define
of
sister
that.
wife. Is it the same thing as
Yeah,
sidekick?
like it's like polyamory. Like, they know that that this one man or this one woman, typically it's man though, has several girlfriends and or um wife,
Okay,
but normally girlfriends. You know that he has two other girlfriends, two other women that he sees other than you. Say, sometimes it's more than that, but but a lot of these women are in these situations thinking that it's because that's just the way it is now.
okay,
Men aren't into having just one woman. Where the truth is, they are. There are plenty of men that do want to have one woman, but there's just a weird divide, and we're going through the same thing. So I started this focus group. I have a focus group. I've changed the title to it. It's called I call it Intimate Constructive Conversations now. And I have men, and I try to have an equal amount of men and women, where we just kind of have originally it was for my programs. It helps me create data for them. I know we're running low on time, so I'm going to be really quick. It helps me create data for them, and in those conversations, what I really hear from men is that, no, like, I would want a good woman, I do want a good woman, it's just that she's not, I don't see her anymore. I don't see her, which is wild, because like when I speak to the women, and especially being a woman, and I know other women, like, granted, birds of a feather flock together, so the type of women that I'm going to know are going to be faithful women.
yeah,
um but these men are feeling like these ladies are masculine in their energy that way. And when I say masculine, meaning that they are out there, out there, they share themselves with everybody, so they, it's not type, not the kind of woman that they necessarily want a wife, right?
yeah.
So they're having, and when you speak to the women, they say the same thing. Like, essentially, they're both saying like, oh, men ain't shit and women ain't shit, but that's not the truth, right? So if we could just, I just really want to get into that Gen Z, that 25-year-old girl, even that early millennial, like that 35-year-old, that 25 to 35-year-old woman, and just make sure she understands that you can create it the way you want it to be, because there's men out there that want what you want, but you have to be enticing to him. You have to be who you say you are. So that's part of like what I do with my consulting end of my business, is just kind of helping women get there. right? To become that type of woman, to become the woman of the man that you want.
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense? Like you
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
this type of man, but are you the woman for that type of man? Right? What have
Yeah.
you done for yourself? What have you been working on with yourself? Have you been taking care of yourself? Have you been healing? Are you eating good? Are you working out? Are you doing all the things that you need to do to be good, to feel good? You know what I mean? That you can offer somebody, you want somebody that you deserve, but they also need to deserve you. You understand?
Yeah. I like what you said. I think that's another show like about because I feel like really old when I talk about this. I feel like the movement for like when I'm seeing online and just how some girls are like you were saying the male the guys think that women are kind of male. I feel like women are very I'm not saying you can't be sexual because I'm not even saying that, but to me, it's kind of the overtly sexual thing is something that I'm not sure if it's a good thing or bad thing. For me personally, it's just that's just no, that's not.
Yeah.
For me, it doesn't
And you
work.
know what? I understand the whole like sexual liberation, feminist movements,
Yeah,
modern feminist type thing
I mean, I
where
am a feminist. I am totally
yeah,
feminist.
like that revolution. I understand like, my body's my own. I can do what I want to do with it. Like if men
Yeah,
does it, it's not the same, but like you're right, it's not the same. It's like you sharing yourself like that is not good. It's not good for them either. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that men should be out there sharing themselves spraying themselves thin with everybody either. It's not good. If they even understood even just the spiritual ramifications of that. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like they understood that and why your life looks like garbage right now, why you don't like it could look like you have everything but you don't feel good inside. Yeah, there's a reason for that. But anyway, I digress on that one, child. That's
Wow, preach,
another
girl, preach. We're gonna have to talk about this again.
okay. That's another show.
Yeah,
But like, yeah, it's women that's what I'm talking about as well when I say masculine in that regard. Because men I'm just gonna say it like this, I'm sure that your audience is a mature audience. When they ejaculate, they spit out millions of sperm.
mm,
You know what I mean? And when a woman ovulates, she has one egg and she protects. You know what I mean? You're not the same. You're not the same. And I'm not excusing their behavior. And I'm not saying that they should be out there like that, but they are built differently than us. And you trying to get into the energy of a man is not going to work for you long term. And you won't feel good in the end with it, spreading yourself thin. So I'm a huge advocate for close your damn legs until you meet somebody that loves you and you love them and you know it's true. It's not just game or words. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Let's get back to that. Let's prop up the virgin again.
Oh my God.
Let's
Okay,
prop her up. Let's like make sure
okay.
everybody thinks that she's great.
Okay, I'm gonna be real with you. That's not gonna happen. You
I
done
know, but
that.
let's try to. Let's try to prop up the girl that is not out there spreading herself too thin. Instead of saying that, listen, at the end of the day, I don't want this to be misconstrued because at the end of the day, I'm pro-choice. Do what's best for you. Do whatever you want to do, right? And what's best for you. So if what's best for you, you feel like sleeping with a bunch of different men, like I have Bill on Saturday, I have Tommy on Sunday, I got like whatever. If that feels good to you, then do that. Listen, you like it, I love it, baby. It is what it is. But I'm just saying, if you're looking for a long-term relationship with someone, you really want to connect that way, don't spread yourself thin. Just wait for the right person and then spread yourself thin with him.
So I hope Nicole was able to educate you on cuffing season and provide you with the ins and outs. It ain't for me, but if you're doing it, just be safe. Thank you for all the information. Thank you for everything. Thank you for like defining cuffing season, giving us the pros and cons of cuffing season, and letting us know if it can work out. I mean, like
you can do it. You can do it. It's unlikely, but you can. Everything's possible.
But I do want to thank you for being on the show again. I want to thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having
me.
No,
it's been a pleasure, honey.
Thanks for joining me for the latest episode of Words with Michelle, the podcast. If you enjoy the podcast, I'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and give a review on Apple Podcasts. Just a reminder, you can subscribe to the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you have any questions or would like to provide feedback, or if you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can email me at michelle@wordswithmichelle.com. You can also email me if you have inquiries regarding sponsoring the show. Thanks for listening. Until next time, bye.